Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live broadcast from us here at the Life of a Utah Medium. I am your host, Caden.
And co-host, Tanisha.
Very sickly co-host, Tanisha. Welcome to another episode, guys. I hope you guys have had a great week so far. It's been a very cold day here in Lehi, Utah today. It's been gross. We had plans to, take the kids out fishing and try to kill some time, and that didn't happen because it is just too damn cold to be sitting out there in the cold.
Especially when you're sick.
Right. I mean, when we drove by the pond, there's a pond kind of by where Megan works, and it is a fishing pond for South Jordan. And there was an old guy sitting out there in a wheelchair with his fishing pole in his hand. But even he was like bundled up and nice and comfy before they fished. So if that, it's cold. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we're going to prepare a little better. Maybe tomorrow we'll take them fishing and have some fun, depending on how the day goes. But anyways, welcome back, guys. It's been a fun week. Not a lot has changed. We've not done a whole lot. For those of you that know the brown Suburban that we had, we did get rid of that today. The thing was falling apart at the seams. So we got rid of it. We are in the market for another vehicle. We don't got much to work with, but we do have a little bit. And so we're looking. I'll let everybody know once we get our new one. We'll probably get it tomorrow. We're looking at a couple. Still got to be big enough to fit our gigantic family, but it's a good time. So just to remind everybody, because it is coming up here quickly, next week, next Friday is our next Friday is our gallery reading session with Esther Graves at Synchronicities. If you are interested in that, I need to hear from everybody on the page or on the event or whatever that you're interested, that you're going to go. If you want to pre-purchase your tickets, please do so. That helps us to plan for how many people there are going to be there at the event. The tickets are $40 a piece for that. You are going to get a gallery reading from myself and Esther, and it will be at Synchronicities. That will be from 7 to 9 p.m. next Friday night, and I highly recommend it. I'm a bit biased, but it's going to be a great night, you guys. Come out and enjoy the atmosphere. Come out and get a reading and see what spirits show up in the building.
And hopefully I'm not sick still.
Hopefully not. And then the following weekend, so 2 weekends from this Friday, the 25th and 26th, we will be at Benson Grist Mill. The 25th will be the gallery reading session that I do out there. We are planning on doing it in the amphitheater, so there is plenty of room for everybody. Come on out. The tickets for that are $20 for just the gallery reading session, $25 just the investigation, and $40 a piece. Guys, that is a steal of a deal. Normally, my ticket prices are $35 a piece for a gallery reading session, so you're already saving $15 off of that. Normally, they charge $35 for the investigation. So you are saving $20 if you come out and purchase the group package, if you will, the double ticket, and get an investigation and a reading. So come participate, come have a blast. The guys at Advanced Paranormal are fantastic. I am so excited to get to do another event with them. We always have a good time. The following night, Saturday the 26th, they will also be doing a gallery reading session, or not a gallery reading, but a presentation that night. So they are going to be doing a presentation on haunted objects. So that'll be an interesting one to go out and see. And then the ticket prices for that are on their website at advancedparanormal.com. Huge shout out to Tim and Gary and Mike and the guys from Supernatural Hour. They've helped put together the couple of events that are going on out there. you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to be a great time. So get your tickets on the website and come on out and have a good time. It's going to be a good weekend. For those of you that are still interested in the class, there are still spots open for that. So, get a hold of me if you're interested, and we'll start working with you and getting things moving along. We are week 3 for those that have started their classes, and it's been a blast. A lot of good stuff's coming out of it. So I'm very, very happy that all of that planning is coming together very nicely. So if you're interested in the class, come and be a part of it. Hit me up, and I'll get you all the information you need. Let's see. We are still in planning for a possible road trip next summer. So once we start locking in dates and places and things like that, I will update everybody on the locations that we're looking at going to, and kind of what our plan is with those events. So, it's been a great night, been a great week. I'm very, very excited. Thank you, everybody, for your support, for your love. Everybody that's been liking and sharing the pages and the podcasts and the live broadcast. You guys are making a huge difference. We've gotten almost double in our listens over the last 2 weeks. And we've got almost double the amount of listens on the live broadcast as well. So thank you, everybody, for your support. Keep on sharing us out there. Keep getting the word out. And we are now starting a YouTube channel as well. You can get these live broadcasts on the YouTube channel, The Life of a Utah Medium. And then I will start doing some videos and put up there as well. Just kind of an update for everybody, kind of put our face out there and just say, hey. So I think that's everything right now for the update that we've got for you guys. So let's jump into the paranormal topic of the night. We have a fun one. I'm excited about this. We've gotten the next month planned out. So we've got some really good shows coming. You're going to have some really good information. We're going to talk about some of the history of some actual events, some of the history of movies, and kind of what has made certain things be what they are. So, like we talked about on the last podcast, our podcast on Friday is going to be the history and information about Waverly Hill Sanatorium, which is number 1 on my hit list. I am going to go visit that location, and I'm going to investigate it at some point in the next year. So tonight, I've been asked multiple times if the only thing I believe to be paranormal is ghosts and spirits. And so we're going to talk about that topic tonight. We're going to talk about all things paranormal and what our beliefs are on each subject. So that way, for everybody that's kind of listening in and whatnot, we are live on the chat. I believe that you have to have an account with Spreaker to chat in with us. But we are live on here, and I have the chat open. So if you want to get on here and chat with us, please do while we're talking about this. If you have any questions or suggestions, anything like that, you can go ahead and message us on here, and we'll talk about it then. But let's jump right into the show, guys. So, yes, ghosts are part of the paranormal field. That is like 90% of what people believe the paranormal field is all about. Is ghosts and demons and things of that nature. And I'm not going to jump into that a whole lot because that's what the basis of the whole show is about. But we do investigate spirits. We do investigate the paranormal as far as that's concerned. But there are other things that are included in the paranormal field that a lot of people either don't believe in or just don't really consider to be part of the field. One of those being UFOs and aliens. There is an actual organization that is government funded that not a lot of people hear about because obviously why would we make this big time news? That is it's part of a government program to investigate all claims UFO and alien. And for those of you that were at the paranormal event, the paranormal conference last year, you got to meet one of the leaders now of that program, Chase Kolotsky. She is one of the directors for the new program, and it is 100% government funded. She goes all over the world right now investigating claims of UFOs and aliens. When September rolled around and that big, go to Area 51 and find the aliens event came about, she was supposed to be down there for that anyway, to go down and answer some questions in an interview. And so she was down on, being a part of that. But, we don't talk about that much. What's your thoughts? What do you think?
Personally, I really don't know if I believe in aliens or not. I mean, I guess I've never really known about it through, like, paranormal, like, side, I guess. So I'm learning a little bit tonight.
UFOs are, really the definition of paranormal is anything abnormal, anything out of the norm. And so obviously UFOs, aliens, ghosts, demons, that kind of thing is all abnormal. It's not, ghosts are becoming the norm, thanks to shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and all that. But before that, it really wasn't. It was really hidden, quiet. We don't talk about it. If you talk about it, you're inviting it. If you talk about it, you're bringing in the devil, that kind of stuff. So, UFOs, though, there are thousands of claims a year for people sighting them, for people experiencing, for people being abducted. And we're going to talk about, let me look at our schedule here in a couple weeks. So, Monday the 21st, one of our topics that we have decided on is we're going to talk about the topic of succubus and incubus. And what started the theory of a succubus is an alien abduction. That is how that came about. So, we can talk a whole lot about that, but, so that's one of our topics coming up. So listen into the live, or into the podcast about that. And, it's kind of off topic a little bit, but we are going to try to change up, the name a little bit, because I know on like Spotify and iHeartRadio and iTunes, the shows are on the same name. So I'm going to change the podcast to say the Life of a Utah Medium podcast or something along those lines so that it differentiates the two shows. So stay tuned for that. You should be able to see that on those platforms when I do it. Just so that that's not so confusing. But along the topic of ghosts and spirits, we talk about angels, and are they real? And are the saints that we've talked about, the major saints, who they are and what they do? Everybody knows that my story begins, re-begins, with a flick in the forehead by Saint Michael. So, I've had some experience with the saints, and not very often, and I don't hear about it very often, which is interesting enough. So it kind of makes you think, was it Saint Michael, or was it my higher self presenting as Saint Michael? Just to kind of give, getting a push in the right direction, if you will. Is it possible that you can see the saints? Sure, absolutely. It's possible that you can see Michael Jackson, but not a lot of people do. It's just the nature of the beast. So there's one Saint Michael and 15 billion people in the United States. It's possible, but the likelihood of it, who knows? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was myself. Maybe it was my higher self waking myself up. I've heard of crazier things happening. So, then we talk about when you're talking about the terms, the ghost terms and stuff, you talk about spirit animals and familiars as well. And, that's part of the paranormal field. And we talk about that a lot, especially the familiars you talk about when you get into witchcraft. And there's a whole, we're gonna do a podcast on witchcraft because there's a whole bunch of information that there's not even a possible way we could cover in 15 minutes. We're going to cover the subtopics, and we're going to cover the kind of the basics of everything. But there is a reason that when you're kind of going through the lessons, it takes you a year and a day to really learn everything about the craft and about paganism and all of that. So there's a lot of information when it comes to all that. And so we're going to talk about it. It'll probably be like an hour-long podcast. It won't be our normal 30 minutes, but that's okay. We can make that happen. We're kind of confined to our 45 minutes here on Spreaker, but the nice part about that podcast is we're not confined to that. So we can take a little bit and discuss some of these topics. So some of the topics, the podcast probably are going to be a little bit longer, and we will give you a heads up when that happens. When we figure out what's going to happen and how long they're going to be, we'll kind of give everybody a heads up when they're posted. So let's talk a little bit about, because it is going to take a little bit to talk about. Let's talk about the familiars and the spirit animals, because most people, a lot of people have questions on it, but most of you won't ask them because it sounds weird or because it sounds different and you feel crazy and whatever. I've heard the gamut on reasons why you are afraid to ask. I will tell you. So your spirit animal, when I walk you through a guided meditation, you're going to meet two things. You're going to meet your spirit guide, and on your way in or your way out, you're going to meet your spirit animal. Everybody has one, or a few, depending on who you are. But everybody has a spirit animal. Everybody has a spirit guide. That is just how it works. And what you see more or what you feel more depends on you. It depends on what it takes to get through to you as an individual. It depends on what it takes for you to register what is going on. So everybody has a different animal. Everybody has, a different way of understanding their animal. Familiars could be, the same spirit animal, or it could be your pet dog that you've had your whole life that helps you feel calm and helps you ground and helps you feel balanced. It does not have to be a deceased animal. Your familiar is likely living. If there's an animal that you associate well with, that you feel like kind of makes you a better person or makes you feel happy or, helps you relax, then that would be your familiar. And, it varies for everybody. And some people, I've had people come to me and say, is it bizarre that my familiar is a mouse or a rat? No, it's not weird. It happens. Is it weird that my familiar is a snake? Well, no. It happens. It just all depends on you. It depends on what you like. There are people that I know. I've got a couple of friends that seriously, their therapy animal is a snake. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what it takes, if that's what you bond with, likely that's your familiar. It's likely that that's what it takes.
Like with me, I had a guinea pig that, she just passed away, a week ago. And the first time I got her, and met her, I saw her and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to hold her. So I held her, and the first thing she does is pee on me. Like she was marking her territory. I loved it. But ever since then, I had her for about a year and a half, and no matter, and I moved around a lot, and every place I looked at, I had to find a place that would approve of her, because I couldn't get rid of her. She was my best friend. I couldn't get rid of her. And when she died, it broke me. I'm still broken from it, but of course I'm getting through it because I've been through worse. That's another story.
Right. Yeah, that's a fun story. But yeah, guys, spirit animals, familiars, everybody has them. And when we're talking about familiars, mostly those are living animals. Those are what kind of get you through this skin life. And then when you get into spirit form, and you're looking at meditation and you're looking at bonding with your spirit guides, then you do have spirit animals. And again, rabbits, snakes, birds, deer, they all are part of that. So, don't be alarmed if you go into a meditation and you're standing in the middle of a field of trees and you see a polar bear, because they're bizarre like that, and it happens. If that's what you see, then that's what you need to bond with. That's what you need to understand. And let's see. I've got a lot of directions that I'm headed here, so I'm getting pulled in reading directions, which is funny. But when it comes to let's talk a little bit about the craft, because that is very, very misunderstood, and it is feared in this country, and it has been forever. If you talk to somebody and they tell you that they are pagan, or that they are a witch, or they are a wizard, they are a warlock, whatever term, depending on the field that they're in, depending on the religion that they're with, warlock and wizard is essentially the same thing, just depending on your religion. But these are not people to fear. Just because somebody tells you that they're a witch does not mean that they're out to harm you, does not mean that they're out to create havoc or cause harm. They have their religion just like you would as a Christian or as a Catholic or as whatever. It's not about harm. They have a way of respecting nature. They have a way of using natural remedies to get over illnesses and heal and, help with anxiety and depression and things like that. There's not a thing wrong with being told that you are in the presence of a witch or a wizard or a pagan or, whatever religion it is. There is nothing bad about it. The only thing that I would tell you is don't piss off a witch. Because before you know it, you're going to be growing warts.
Too bad I'm a white witch. There's some people I would really love to put warts on.
But no, it's just like everything, guys. It is all in the intent. It is all in the energy that you put into it. Excuse me while I'm yawning my eyes out. It's all in the intent. If you go into it with the intention of healing and protection and cleansing and, helping those around you, then that is what you're going to make of it. If you go into it and you find somebody who is dark and wants to put pain and hatred and all that on people, they can. And, it just all is in the intention. It's all in what they want to do with it. There is light and dark in everything that you do. There's right and wrong, good and evil, however you want to look at it, yin and yang. There has to be a balance in life. Without a balance, too much of anything is not a good thing. So, even too much water is not a good thing. It's called hydrosis, and it's a very bad condition. But, there's a lot of stuff involved in the paranormal field. There's not just ghosts. There's not just demons. There's not just wizards and witches and all of that. UFOs. When we talk about the paranormal field, most people don't think about it, but Bigfoot. Bigfoot's paranormal. There are people who consistently hunt Bigfoot. And there are people that do it for a living.
See, that I do believe in. I do believe in Bigfoot. People think I'm crazy, but hey.
I believe in Bigfoot too. If you're over a size 12, you got some big feet. Please don't beat me with them. But, when it comes to that, the same as Loch Ness. Like, is it possible? Sure. It's possible. I don't think I'll ever run into it in my lifetime, but it's possible. There's been sightings in Utah for Bigfoot. There's been sightings all over the country and all over the world. There's been sightings for Loch Ness. It happens, but I haven't ever experienced it, so I don't really have an opinion one way or another. Is it something that I would investigate? Sure. If you can take me to a place where I would investigate, where I could find some results, find some answers, find a direction, it's all in science. It's all in learning. It's all about, it's all about learning it. You never know. With Loch Ness, with Bigfoot, with Chupacabra, which, Chupacabra to me sounds like a demon. Like the way that the history on that and all the information on Chupacabra, like it seriously sounds like a bunch of people are experiencing demonic activity, and sounds like something that needs to be exorcised. It sounds like a good time. So, and then there are paranormal locations like Area 51. It's a hot topic. It's one of those areas that everybody wants to go to. Everybody wants to see it. Everybody wants proof.
Unless you have like a death wish, don't go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go, at least do it live so that we all can all see what happens. Like, be smart about it, but seriously, be nice. And I don't know what is going on with my voice tonight. It is bizarre. It's been a weird day. So, I'm definitely glad that this is not on, a radio show that we're on for 4 or 5 hours. It's been interesting. My voice is kind of being funky. So who knows what tomorrow's podcast will bring? It may come in a whole bunch of crackles and nonsense. We shall see. But, yeah, I mean, guys, the paranormal field covers anything that is abnormal or not talked about, or is talked about but not believed, or, anything that we don't really have proof on 100% proof. Nobody's ever caught the Bigfoot. Nobody's ever caught, you've never been able to bring a ghost in front of millions of people and go, see, I told you it's real. You have those of us who communicate with them. You have those of us that see your family and your relatives all the time. But even for us, we can't bring it to the mass public and say, here you go, this is 100% foolproof evidence that ghosts are real. I know what I experience. I know that when I'm in a room full of mediums, we all can talk to the same person. And we all can get information on the same person. So, and not know it. That's the even better thing is we don't know. We will write down the same description, the same height, the same weight, the same, hair color, eye color, whatever, all of the information about the same person. I mean, it happens a lot. And, it's validation. It's validation for you. It's validation for the other person. It's great. And, as we've talked about in the paranormal field, there's even different classifications for what you can do as a medium or a psychic. And so different people experience it differently. They all interpret things differently. Some of us can see and hear and smell and feel everything. Some people can only see. Some people can only hear. Some people can only feel. It's all a matter of, how you are specifically as a person. And can you develop? Sure. You can go from being somebody who only... That was Tanisha's fault.
I have an excuse to yawn. I'm sick.
But, no, you can develop. So you can go from being somebody who only feels to being somebody who can see or can hear or, what have you. Some people never learn to develop to where you can see, and that's okay. If you work on developing and you can go from feeling to feeling and hearing, it's a step. It helps. If all you can do is feel and interpret what you feel, then a lot of your feelings are going to be correct. You may not be able to see that it's a female spirit, but if you can feel the difference in the energy and know that is a female spirit about this height, you're onto something. You can get that information that way. You can feel the energy and say, make me feel this way if it's yes, make me feel this way if I'm wrong. It varies. As Tanisha is learning. We're kind of developing her from, she used to only be able to feel certain things here and there, and now she's starting to experience more. So, it does happen. You can change. You can feel different things. You can be different ways. And then, we can go on and on about the angels, about demons. There are different classifications of demons. There are demons and daemons. There are a whole classification system inside of the word demon to kind of determine the level of power and the level of hatred that the specific demon has. There are 12 ultimate high power archangels, and there are 12 basically archdemons that are like the primary 12. And then you've got hundreds of others beyond that. And the same on the other side. Again, the light and dark. It's yin and yang. It is both. So, there's all kinds of information. If you want any information, if you have any questions, to kind of give you an idea of the shows that we're looking at, we're looking at putting together shows on the succubus, like we said. We're getting ready to talk about demons and the types of, different types of demons that there are. Because there is a lot of classifications, like I said, on demons and what classifies a demon. We're going to talk about the succubus, which, like I said, is kind of funny how that kind of sparked from an alien abduction. The way that they got the classification, the way that they got the understanding of a succubus is basically the similar history or similar type of haunt as you would see in an alien abduction. The probing, the bad feelings, the whole 9 yards, the lack of memory, all of it is all identical to alien abduction. We're going to talk about astrology because you don't think about that, but astrology definitely is part of the paranormal field. If you do what we do as mediums, as psychics, as, empaths, you learn to kind of read into the astrology a little bit and understand how different signs interact. It's kind of funny because if you read up on some, you find that what they put in there is actually pretty dang accurate. It really helps to read it and understand, because there are times, seriously, where you just kind of look and go, what in the hell is going on? Why is it that I cannot, no matter how hard I try, I cannot get along with this person? And then you go and you look and you're like, oh, well, that's why. Because I don't get along with anybody in that particular personality type. Like Cancers and Scorpios. We get along as long as you're not in a relationship. I've never, one of my best friends is a Scorpio, and that would never work. We, great friends, and but the thing is Cancers and Scorpios are both very dominant, very need to be in control type personalities. And so, when you get two very dominant, needing to be in control personalities in the same area or the same room, and neither one of you is willing to budge, it doesn't go that way. So you find the personality, you find the sign, I guess, if you will, that meshes well with you. You find the personality type of person that you can be around all the time. Because, life is already difficult enough when you are with somebody 24/7, 365. You have to learn to find your balance, and you have to find somebody that you can do that well with. And luckily I have. So, it's definitely nice change of scenery to have somebody that, you can love and still want to beat them every chance you get because they drive you crazy, and still want to be there the next, still want to be there at night and wake up the next morning. It's definitely a nice change. When it comes to astrology, most people think, well, isn't it just witches that look at the astrology? Well, no, not really. It can be, mediums that look into it, astrologists that specifically look at it and know every detail in and out. There are energy workers that rely on that to help in your healing and help with your balance and things like that. So, and then when we talk about witches and witchcraft and stuff like that, are spells real? Is magic real? Are potions real? That kind of stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. And there is different spells for different things. There is potions and stuff like that for different things. Can you be a light and dark witch? I mean, there's not really a light and dark, but a witch is a witch, and their intention is what sets them apart. If you are a light witch, like what Tanisha was saying, then you focus on more of the healing, more of the balance, more of the nature, the light-natured stuff. And if you're a dark, then you focus on the pain and the torture and the, wanting to constantly find ways to kill people and all that kind of crazy stuff. There's all kinds of things that you can look at in the field. And there's all kinds of things that, all kinds of topics that we can discuss. So we've got a month's show lined up for you guys. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about a lot of really cool stuff. Like I said, the podcast tomorrow night, or Friday night, I guess. Tomorrow night for those that listen to the podcast. We're going to talk about Waverly Hills Sanatorium. If you don't know anything about that, listen into the podcast. I will tell you why it's my number one location that I will go to. We're going to talk about demons. We're going to talk about, it is Halloween and all. So we're going to talk about Jason Voorhees and the real story behind Jason Voorhees. So that will be next week's live broadcast here on Spreaker. If you are interested in that, join us. If you're not, share that with somebody who is. Then we're going to talk again about, so Friday the 18th, it will be when we're at Synchronicities. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Synchronicities and talk about preparing for a gallery reading at Synchronicities. And then we're going to talk about, some other stuff, the succubus, astrology. We're going to talk about spells, magic, that kind of stuff. The really cool one, guys, is we are going to have a bonus live broadcast of the life of a Utah medium from Benson Grist Mill, Friday the 25th. So if nothing else, for sure, stay tuned for that live broadcast. It's going to be a blast. We will have, again, the podcast Friday and Monday. We get them out as quickly as we possibly can. And if you have any questions, if you have any topics that you would like to hear discussed, we are starting to write our schedule for next month as well. So tune in, let us know what you want to hear, let us know what you like, and we'll be sure to talk about it. Thanks again to everybody who's been sharing, liking, listening to this podcast, to this live broadcast, to everything. It's been great, you guys. I'm excited to see the rest of this build up and keep going and keep doing what we're doing. You guys all make it possible, so thank you very much for that. And we look forward to seeing you guys at these live events that we're going to do. We're looking forward to setting up more. There will be more live gallery reading sessions. There will be another investigation, I'm sure, set up in the near future. Stay tuned. Listen in. We'll talk all about it on the show and on the podcast, and we'll announce it until your ears fall off so that you know all the information about it. Thanks again, everybody. Please share, subscribe, share the heck out of this, guys. Let's get the word out. Let's get the listenership built up and get more information out to more people. It's been great, as always.
Yes, it has.
And we look forward to talking to you guys again Friday. We'll talk to you on the live broadcast next Wednesday right here on Spreaker at 8 p.m. as always. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great week.